To suit the current zeitgeist, there's a version of Vauxhall's 5th generation Corsa Supermini, this car, the Corsa-e, that's fully battery powered. But would you want to pay the significant premium necessary to get it? Time to check out this little battery powered hatch.
Supermini-sized full electric cars haven't generally been very credible to date, with one or two notable exceptions. But times are changing. Pretty soon, most volume brand manufacturers are going to be offering little EVs with the kind of driving range you once had to pay luxury money for. Vauxhall has found itself in the vanguard of this charge, courtesy of the borrowed PSA Group technology we first saw in the Peugeot E-208 and the DS3 Crossback E-TENSE. It appears in this car, the Corsa-e, the Griffin brand's very first zero-emissions model. Here, as with this model's cousin, the Peugeot E-208, a 50 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery is mated to a 100 kilowatt electric motor, putting out 136 PS and working through the usual single-speed auto transmission that you get with EVs. Like all electric vehicles, this one develops all its torque all at once and simply hurls itself away from rest. The 30 mile an hour mark is reached in just 2.1 seconds, and 60 miles an hour is crested in only 7.6 seconds, disguising the fact that, also like all EVs, this zero emissions variant has a bit of a weight problem. That drivetrain adds over 300 kilograms of bulk. That other small battery-powered little hatches manage this issue a little better is evidenced by the fact that the Corsa-e's WLTP-rated 209-mile driving range is easily improved upon by the latest versions of the Renault Zoe and the BMW i3. Still, all of this does represent a brave new world for forward-thinking Supermini buyers looking to make the still rather expensive switch into all-electric motoring. It seems like only yesterday, after all, that a fully charged small EV can only manage around half the kind of range you get from this one. Of course, you certainly won't achieve anything like that kind of operating capability if you get anywhere near this EV's quoted 93 mile an hour top speed, or if you habitually drive your Corsa-e in the sport setting that'll be necessary to release the full 136 PS power output just mentioned. The quoted range figure will only be distantly possible if you instead engage a somewhat restrictive eco mode that drops power output right down to 83 PS. Visually, this electric Corsa is virtually identical to the combustion engine version, with the exception of different alloy wheel designs. An exterior highlight that Vauxhall is particularly proud of is the fact that this is the first car in the class to feature adaptive glare-free full LED headlights, the brand's IntelliLux LED Matrix package, the kind of thing previously restricted to much larger cars. The side view is characterised by a swept-back roofline, a pronounced mid-level crease above the door handles, and in usual Vauxhall fashion, a lower swage line flowing upwards towards the rear wheel arch in a blade-like formation. Avoid entry-level trim and you get this contrast-coloured black roof, which is on trend, but most models are restricted in wheel size to 16-inch rims, which isn't. You only get the 17 inches we've got here at the very top of the range. The rear styling is characterised by this sharply defined crease line that bisects the top of the tailgate badge and connects the sleek light clusters, which will be LED illuminated provided you avoid entry-level trim. These lower corner cutouts add a bit of visual interest, and on sportier variants, this smart roof spoiler offers a neat finishing touch. Inside, there are very few differences with this electrified model over a conventional version of this Vauxhall Supermini. If you've driven a Corsa before, as most of us have, the Griffin badge on the steering wheel will be the only thing you'll recognise about this one. Now, you sit quite low, and the cabin surrounding you is of considerably higher quality than you might expect, with glossy black trim that delivers quite an upmarket feel. Technology also helps, of course, with the greater perception of sophistication. The minimum centre dash monitor size is 7 inches, while at the very top of the range you can have this wide, brightly coloured 10-inch HD fascia display. Now, both monitors deliver the expected smartphone mirroring functionality, and of course there's navigation too, which is optional with the smaller screen. Opt for top spec and you'll find that another 7-inch digital display features with virtual dials in the instrument binnacle. Build quality doesn't match the highest standards in this class, but ergonomically there's not much to fault. The seats are supportive, nothing's irritatingly awkward to get to, and everything's exactly where you expect it to be. Rear seat space is a little constricted thanks to the underfloor battery placement, and legroom is at something of a premium. It's more city car than Supermini-like back here. It helps though that the designers have done their best with what they had to work with. The curvature of the front seat backs is designed to improve knee room. There's relatively low centre transmission tunnel, and there's lots of room to poke your feet beneath the front chairs. There's hardly anywhere to store things though. The door bins are tiny, and Vauxhall doesn't offer any kind of overhead lights, which seems a bit mean. Plus, these rear head restraints dig uncomfortably into your back until you raise them. Boot room is exactly the same as with the combustion engine versions, 309 litres, extendable to 1,118 litres when you fold the rear bench. For this all-electric Corsa-e, there are 2 available trim levels, SE Nav and Elite Nav, and from launch prices were pitched in the £28,000 to £31,000 bracket once the available £3,000 government plug-in grant had been deducted from the mildly alarming initial asking price. That's for the 7.4 kilowatt model we have here. You can also specify your car in 11 kilowatt form for £850 more, which you do if your home or work happen to have the kind of 3-phase electricity supply that would charge the car quicker. Now, this kind of overall pricing means that, rather bravely, Vauxhall has priced the base Corsa-e around £900 above the entry-level Allure spec version of its Peugeot E208 cousin.
And a top GT spec E208 will save you nearly £1,500 over a top Elite Nav spec Corsa-e.
Which is interesting positioning given that the two products are basically the same. But both the Corsa-e and the E208 make more sense as EVs than 2 other key zero-emission small car rivals at this price point, the Honda E and the Mini Electric. That Mini's priced from around £28,000 and has a much lower operating range, a 3-door only body style and a tiny boot. Plus, it would probably cost around £3,000 more when equipped to a similar standard. The Honda E is much the same. There aren't really any other direct all-electric small hatch options. You can get battery-powered versions of the Volkswagen Up, the Seat Mii and the Skoda Citigo from around £20,000, but they're all smaller city cars. If you're looking at a plusher Corsa-e, the same sort of money would get you Hyundai's Ioniq Electric or the base 39 kilowatt-hour version of the Kia e-Niro, but neither of those 2 cars will go as far on a single charge as this one. A BMW i3 would of course cost you much more than Vauxhall is asking here. If, having considered the value proposition we've outlined, you conclude that it is this Vauxhall that you really want, then you're going to need to know just how generous the brand has been when it comes to standard spec. Well, let's see. Base SE nav trim gets you everything you really need. Stuff like navigation, climate control, auto headlamps and wipers, and rear parking sensors. Plus, there are 16-inch bi-colour wheels. But if the deal on offer is strong enough, you might not be able to resist the draw of a Corsa-e like this one with top elite nav spec. Now this adds a 10-inch HD multimedia Nav Pro centre dash screen, plus Intellilux LED matrix headlights, a contrast coloured black roof, LED front fog lights, heat for the front seats and the steering wheel, a front centre armrest, part leather effect seat trim, the 7-inch digital instrument cluster and some extra camera safety kit, plus dark tinted rear windows and a set of 17-inch bi-coloured diamond cut alloy wheels. With both variants, your Corsa-e will come with the Vauxhall Connect package that gives you quite a lot. First and foremost, there's an e-call system that at the press of a button, 24/7, 365 days a year, will put you in touch with a trained advisor in the event of an emergency or a breakdown. And it'll automatically alert the emergency services should the airbags go off in an accident. Using a downloadable My Vauxhall app, Vauxhall Connect will also give you access to live navigation services. Now that means that you can plan a route in advance on your PC, then forward it to your car, saving you quite a lot of faffing around when you get in at the start of your journey. There's also regular vehicle diagnostic info, plus the app will allow you to lock or unlock your car via your phone from wherever you are in the world. It can even let you or someone you nominate access and start the car using a smartphone. Vauxhall Connect additionally includes a range of specific services for Vauxhall Corsa-e owners, including trip planning, remote settings and public charging solutions. Let's finish with a look at safety. Now, you'd expect a modern Supermini these days to come with some sort of autonomous braking system fitted as standard across the range, and this Corsa doesn't disappoint. The automatic emergency city braking active safety brake system is standard fit, working in combination with the standard forward collision alert setup. And it works at speeds of between 3 and 53 miles an hour as you drive, scanning the road ahead in search of potential collision hazards. If one is detected, you'll be warned. If you don't respond or aren't able to, then at speeds of below 19 miles an hour, your Corsa will autonomously brake itself to a complete stop with 0.9 G of braking, avoiding the obstacle. At speeds of between 19 and 53 miles an hour, speed will be reduced by up to 14 miles an hour. The system can specifically identify vehicles, pedestrians, bicycles and motorbikes. Other standard safety features include lane departure warning with lane assist, which alerts you if you drift out of your lane and applies subtle corrective lock to steer you back to where you ought to be. Like automatic emergency city braking, we found that this feature works smoothly and unobtrusively with a refreshing lack of too many jerks, beeps and bongs. What else is standard in terms of safety camera kit? Well, there's a driver's attention warning driver drowsiness system which monitors your driving reactions for drowsiness, which if detected will prompt a warning to stop for a restorative coffee. And it'll automatically warn you to take a break if you've been driving for more than a couple of hours at speeds of above 40 miles an hour. There's also traffic signs recognition, which pictures speed signs as you pass, then displaying them on the dash, which is what drives the intelligent speed limiter that we mentioned earlier. Also, as mentioned earlier, there's that e-call system as part of Vauxhall Connect, which will automatically alert the emergency services with your exact GPS location in an accident. Despite all of that, this Vauxhall wasn't able to achieve a full 5-star showing in Euro NCAP safety tests. Poor whiplash protection for rear seat passengers apparently brought the score down to 4 stars out of 5. Nevertheless, NCAP scores of 84 and 86% respectively for adult and child occupant protection are well up to the class standard. More usual safety inclusions that of course feature here include Isofix child seat fastenings on the outer rear seats, a tyre pressure monitoring system, hill start assist to stop you from drifting backwards on uphill junctions, and twin front, side and curtain airbags, though unfortunately there's no driver's knee airbag. Plus, of course, all the usual electronic assistance for stability and traction control. There's cornering brake control for extra stability through the turns, and a drag torque control feature that stops destabilization of the car that would otherwise occur if you were to suddenly lift off the throttle on a slippery surface. Now, as we mentioned earlier, you've also got a welcome dose of standard headlamp technology across the range, the extra reach of full LED beams and standard high beam assist that'll automatically dip your headlights for you at night. If you want more in terms of safety kit, then you'll need to opt for the Elite Nav model, which comes with two further features: side blind spot alert, which warns you if you're about to dangerously pull out into the path of an oncoming vehicle. And less familiar to us, but very welcome, is what Vauxhall calls flank guard. Now, this works at parking speeds of below 6 miles an hour and uses 12 sensors positioned around the vehicle to warn you if the side of the car is about to collide with an object. Audio signals increase in frequency the closer you get to the obstacle. How many parking dings might that feature have prevented for you over the years? Now, it's also worth mentioning that the panoramic rear view camera that's standard on the Elite Nav model shows a 180-degree field of view behind the car, so it's able to show you traffic approaching from both left and right as you reverse. The PSA Group hasn't yet strayed into offering any kind of semi-autonomous driving tech on this class of car in the way that, say, top versions of the rival Renault Clio do. Adaptive cruise control is the closest this Corsa gets in that regard.
This Corsa-e model's full electric drivetrain with its 50 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery and 100 kilowatt electric motor claims to be state-of-the-art for a small car. Its WLTP certified range of 209 miles, though, is bettered in the class by the BMW i3, which records up to 223 miles, and the Renault Zoe, which in 52 kilowatt-hour form manages up to 242 miles. It's worth pointing out, though, that both these rivals cost significantly more, the BMW particularly so, and that a more closely priced zero-emissions rival, the Mini Electric, can offer a WLTP range of only 144 miles. If you're a Corsa-e owner, you'll need to know that getting anywhere near the quoted range figure will necessitate staying in the powertrain's provided Eco mode. Activating its Sport mode setting will reduce your range by around 10%. What about charging times? Well, using the 7 kilowatt wall box that you'll need to get installed in your garage as a Corsa-e owner, a full charge from empty will take 7.5 hours. If, when you're out and about, you find a public 50 kilowatt rapid charger, the replenishment time to charge from 15 to 80% is 45 minutes. If you're fortunate enough to find a 100 kilowatt rapid charger, that falls to 30 minutes. If the charger in question is a 22 kilowatt accelerated public charger, then the replenishment time will vary depending on whether you paid a little extra to get the Corsa-e standard 7.4 kilowatt onboard charger upgraded to 11 kilowatt spec. Now, if you do that, you can reduce the 5-hour replenishment time with this kind of charger to 3 hours and 20 minutes. At the point of purchase of a Corsa-e, Vauxhall will throw in a free 6-month subscription to BP Chargemaster's Polar network, which after that point would, at the time of this test, cost you £7.85 a month. What else might you need to know? Well, residual values on Corsa are better than they used to be. Independent experts reckon that residual values over a typical 3-year, 36,000 mile ownership period will vary between 36 and 41%, with the electric model at the top end of these projections. Finally, you'll also need to know about warranties. In a class where Hyundai and Toyota offer standard 5-year warranties and Kia offers a 7-year package, Vauxhall, like most of its other rivals, persists with the usual 3-year 60,000 mile package, which can be extended up to 5 years and 100,000 miles at extra cost. A year's free breakdown cover is also provided, along with a 6-year anti-corrosion guarantee.
We're still at the stage at which you have to be pretty sold on the EV concept to choose a car like this. Vauxhall says its goal is to reach a stage where the overall full life cost of a Corsa-e, taking into account purchase price or leasing costs plus charging fees, is approximately the same as what you'd pay to run a well-specified petrol automatic variant. Well, we're some way off that at present, but it'll happen sooner or later. For the time being, this is pretty much state-of-the-art in terms of full electric small cars. Yes, you can get the same technology in a Peugeot E-208 or a DS3 Crossback E-TENSE, and yes, other compact EVs like the Renault Zoe and the BMW i3 will take you a little further on a single charge. But this Vauxhall will reach a far wider audience than any of the models just mentioned. It will play a key part in democratising the idea of a Supermini EV, and that makes it a very important car indeed.